I think that black people should stop watching anime. No, it's a hook. It's a hook. Don't crucify me. Look, but I do think there is a problem. There's something I want to discuss. Obviously, I don't think black people should stop watching anime. You should watch it at your heart's content. But there's something about that celebration that has always kind of irked me. For a very long time, I think black people have done such a good job of like uplifting other cultures, particularly Asian culture, right? Particularly through, I mean, things like Wu-Tang Clan, particularly through relationship to anime, even like Studio Ghibli movies. The important distinction, however, is that I think that black communities do that without ever stealing from it. That's the crucial bit. I don't believe that there is people stealing from it. Of course, there'll be individual examples. There'll be some dude out there with a tattoo of a Chinese word for hope and doesn't even know what it means. But I'm just saying, en masse, I don't think we steal. I think ultimately so many black communities in Europe and in North America and other places were often the first outsider group, right? They were the first group on the margins of society. And so I think those whilst disenfranchised groups are often pitted against each other, that's the first group that like had that knowledge and was able to like reach out to other groups who were on the margins of society within like Western civilization. As I say, I think people have been turned against each other. I think there'll always be history of that. But this celebration, this very specific cultural exchange that definitely started in America and spread through black culture all over the world, I think it's always been that way. Like, let's not revise history here. Outside of the communities that those products were made for, outside of Asian communities, it was black people that popularized those things first in America and here in the UK. I'm sorry, even like Dragon Ball Z and Pokemon were big in like black communities, but before white people found it. What bothers me is that I don't think that respect has been paid back. And by respect, I mean the without stealing part. To be clear, on a very personal level, my circle of Asian friends here in the UK, they celebrate black culture brilliantly. And that's because they're involved in it with other black people. I see that every day. But on a more macro level, in kind of pop culture, there are these moments that make me stop and go, hold on, why is the contribution of black people and black culture being erased here? Intentionally as well. That's the bit. The big example that I've talked about before is K-pop. It's widely known. It's widely known that K-pop artists will reach out to black R&B singer-songwriters and producers in the US and in the UK and help craft their sound, right? And I know this firsthand. I've talked about this with artists here in the UK, and some of you know which artists I'm talking about. Artists are approached to write for those acts, and the offer for doing that work often goes, we'll pay you well. We'll pay you better than ever before. We just don't want to put your name on it. We just don't want to have to give you a writing credit. So they want the sound of blackness, but they don't want to have to give any credit. There's an aggressive effort to remove the visible impact of black artistry from K-pop and across fashion styles as well. And I even saw a piece recently about fried chicken, like Korean fried chicken. Like people need to understand it's not some recent discovery. There's a very specific history.
Oh, Korean fried chicken is by far the best fried chicken on the face of the earth.
And you know why? Because it was taught to Korean cooks by African-American GIs after the World War.
And ultimately, that's why I started this by saying maybe we should start watching anime. Maybe black people should start watching it, even though I don't mean it. I really don't mean it literally. I'm just saying, why isn't that type of respect paid back? Why isn't that type of honoring without stealing? Why are we admiring whilst others are picking our pockets? I see black people, when I was in Japan, I saw them there celebrating their love of Japanese culture. Guess what? They weren't stealing it. They weren't making a black version of it. They were just honoring it. It's just odd to me that that type of admiration flows in one direction. And that's the difference, people. When you want to understand the difference between cultural celebration and cultural appropriation, that's it. That's the thing I wish people understood. There's just one side doing the sharing.